Hey guys, I'm Paul with MGP Gamer, a new YouTube channel aimed at showcasing slightly more off-key PlayStation games. There's going to be no Call of Duty or games of that type, sorry. We're going to be focusing on potentially more lesser known games. For example, this series is dealing with Prison Architect from Introversion Software and Double 11. For those that don't know, Prison Architect began life as a PC game released through Steam in 2015. In 2017, the third version was released for tablets called Prison Architect Mobile, and in between the two in 2016, Introversion and Double 11 released what we'll call the console edition for PS4, Xbox One and Xbox 360. We're going to be playing the PlayStation 4 edition. So, without further ado, let's go. Okay, so we're going to start by going straight up to the top of the screen here, because I always like to start on the top right hand side. We're going to start off by adding some tiles here, some flooring tiles, which will give us paths essentially. I like to make my path 3 wide, and so we're going to have 3 wide there from the top paving stones, and we'll have 3 wide there against the end of the road concrete tiles. We'll also start a perimeter wall parallel to those across here and down here, because eventually we'll get a perimeter wall going around the whole thing, but we're going to start there to give us some semblance of starting with security. On the inside, one of the updates that the game got with its PS4 and Xbox One community update was new flooring tiles, so we're going to use sandstone here to create pathways inside our perimeter wall. Now, first thing any facility needs is water and power, so we'll use the quick room with the brick build option, and we'll stick a utility room right there. And here comes some workers. We only have 8 of them at the moment, but we'll put a sandstone path in front of the utility room as well, and we'll let those guys go to town with that. We'll carry on the perimeter wall down, because I think we might have just missed a piece of perimeter wall there. But we'll carry the perimeter wall down so that it surrounds the facility as we go. And then we'll add concrete tiles all the way down to carry on the outside pavement, because when you place a perimeter wall it likes to place paving stones as well, and I don't particularly want paving stones. We'll add a few more workmen to make this job go a little quicker. There you go. And yeah, look how quick they're going at it now. Perimeter wall, sandstone interior paths, and the room, there it is, that's going to house the water pumping station and the power station. I love watching these guys go crazy when you turn the speed up. They go around like little worker bees, just buzzing around doing the whole thing. Okay. Okay, so we'll surround this whole room here with a sandstone path so that it's, you know, all nice and neat. You'll find as you watch me do this, guys, that I like 3 wide paths made of 3 wide tiles. You know, so you've got an outside tile, an interior tile, you know, or 2 exterior tiles rather. This area here, we're gonna put a door in the center right there, and then we're going to segment it off into 3 separate rooms, which aren't really rooms, but 3 separate areas to hold garbage storage and deliveries, which is going to make it easier for both the delivery guy to bring stuff, rather than it going, you know, halfway down the map and then having to come up to the top of the map with it, and for the workers themselves, because if they're going to be building in this area, all their supplies are going to be up here. So to me that makes perfect sense. If we see down here where I've already got these areas, we'll just get rid of those, because we don't need delivery and garbage and storage and so on further down when we're concentrating on building in the upper corner here. We'll bring the perimeter wall down a little further, because we're going to be building to the south of, I suppose, beneath the power station and the storage room when they get to it. They're putting their sandstone paths in. Let's carry on the sandstone path to the logical end of the storage room. and we'll repeat the process that we did around the power station and put a nice neat sandstone path bordering the whole room and the perimeter wall. Alright, going well so far, you know, slow beginnings, but we'll get there. We'll finish off some paving stones on the outside to keep it nice and neat and uniform. You know, some people say I'm a little pedantic, but that's why I like these kind of games. I like to keep things nice and neat when I do this kind of game. So, you know, I'll have 3 wide on the inside, then the fencing, 3 wide on the outside. You know, not that anybody's going to be walking on the outside when the whole area is finished, because everything they'll need will, in theory, be bordered by that perimeter fence. Okay, there's the delivery storage garbage room done. We're going to have to run some power lines sooner or later. There's the delivery guy. He has just brought some stuff in and now off he goes. We'll finish the path on the left hand side. Now we'll run some power lines. We'll grab it right from the edge of the water pumping station there. We'll go all the way across, almost to the edge of the storage room. And when my guys have done that, I always call them my guys, because I suppose you could argue if I'm the architect in Prison Architect that I'm the boss. So we'll have them do that, and we'll, yeah, there they go, bringing in some more supplies to carry on with the sandstone. And that one chap there, he's bringing in a roll of electrical cables, which means that there'll be light over there sooner or later. Yeah, and then we'll carry on. We'll stay parallel to the power station over here underneath, and we'll build what's going to end up being a holding cell and a reception room. But before we do that, we'll add a door here so we'll be able to get in, and we'll turn this area into a reception room. But what you're going to see me do, guys, is probably going to seem a little confusing because of the unique way I'm going to build hallways. Yeah, well, let's start that again, because what I'm going to end up doing is I'll build a hallway 3 wide in a similar way to the sandstone paths you see there on the outside, so that I can use the community updates features of the new walls to give my interior rooms like the holding cell and, you know, the canteen and so on and so forth different walls than just the brick and the concrete that the game has had for so long. But to do that, you have to create foundations separate from those other walls, and you can't use those other walls as exterior walls. You have to build a foundation first and then put your other rooms in. So it's going to look a little odd building hallways and then, you know, growing rooms out of them, let's say. So bear with me, guys, and I promise you there's method in my madness. It will all make sense eventually, I promise. This is going to be a 3 wide hallway with a doorway that leads into it, which will ultimately then have the holding cell and reception room coming off of it. Now I should mention as well, while my guys are doing this, that I'm playing with the unlimited funds option, which might stop you from getting certain trophies or achievements, but what it also does, it means you don't have to worry about the constraints of a budget, which is, if you like me, you just happen to like building and building and building and, you know, not worrying about that. You know, it's much more of a relaxed playing experience than, you know, I tend to, whoops, I tend to let my controller thumb slip sometimes. It's a much more relaxing experience as a player when I don't have to worry about things like the budget. So we set it to unlimited budget, and, you know, I set the parameters to as easy as I can because I just want to build a prison and have fun doing it. Later we'll put some inmates in and we'll see how they react. We're going to try treating them nicely. You know, we're going to try making a corrections hotel facility, let's say, you know, for fun. But in the meantime, I'm carrying on my strange idea of creating these 3 wide hallways, and I promise you it will make sense once I start attaching rooms to them. It really will, I promise, guys. Okay, So in the meantime, let's let these guys up there finish this one hallway off here to the left. We'll bring down a sandstone path because we're going to carry on the whole uniform neatness thing with the sandstone path and then the perimeter wall right there. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll finish off, or carry on I should say, with the exterior pavement outside of the perimeter wall, so that we have 3 wide concrete tiles on the outside and 3 wide sandstone on the inside, and then 3 wide hallways. Have we got a theme going on here, do you think? Do we like 3 wide? Maybe we should have called the channel 3 wide. What do you guys think? One of these days I will tell you when we were discussing it in the office, where we came up with the idea for MGP Gamer from. You know, people have asked him, what does it mean? Most games played, things like that. Well, no, it's not. You know, because of this particular game, was it must get prison? No, wasn't that either. I promise you guys, I will tell you what it means one of these days. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think it might mean, and you know, we'll see if anybody gets it right. I honestly don't think you will. I will say it is related to video gaming, but I don't think anybody will get it. But leave me a comment down below, guys, and let me know what you think it is. Now, we'll run power lines down these corridors, ideally down the center, and that'll spread power across the entire sets of hallways. Now we'll build a structural room, which is essentially a brick wall or a concrete wall, which we'll drag out from the top corner here, which is going to end up being the reception room. But because of the unique way the community update handles interior walls of different types, what I'm going to do is I'll drag it out as a foundation, a structure, which will give it the floor, which you'll see in a second here when these guys have done with the electrical cables in the hallways, and that sort of upside down L-shaped hallway. They'll build the concrete room right there, and then what I'm going to end up doing is changing these walls to one of the more, well, let's see, do we need power in there first? No, I don't think we do. I think the whole room's powered. Let's run some power in anyway, because we're probably going to come through that back wall eventually with the power lines. Now, what we're going to do, as I said, is we're going to take one of the wall tiles from the new community update, which in this case is going to be the decayed, correction. No, let's use the standard white wall tiles in here, and that will replace the concrete I just laid, now that that's a valid room with a floor. And hopefully you'll see what my thought process is. They'll come in, they'll put in the rest of the excuse me, power lines first, and then hopefully, because you know sometimes these little workmen don't like to do what you tell them, so hopefully they'll actually come in and they'll acknowledge the order I've given them to change those walls. There you go. Yeah, change the walls, guys, that's an order. Alright, so now as you can see we actually have a room with white walls, which makes it completely different to the brick walls that we started with. When the game was first released, of course, it only had the 2 options, the brick right there or the concrete, and that's all well and good because, you know, it's a jail, it's not supposed to look like a mansion, we get that. But a few months ago, when the nice people at Double 11 decided to do their community update, they added a whole load of new different wall sets. And what that means is that we can create rooms with nicer walls inside, but the way I've learned how to do it is to do the way I'm doing here, which is creating brick walls, excuse me, brick structures that create hallways, and then allowing the new wall sets to go in. I screwed up there, however, so let's start that again, because what we actually want to do is I want to create a hallway going along to the side and the back there of what's going to be the reception room. Okay, so we'll take out these 3 pieces here because otherwise there would just be a block, but what we actually want is access to that area, which will essentially create a corridor down there. I realize I'm kind of going around the houses to do it that way, but that's another advantage to playing. I don't have to worry about finances. Excuse me there, my microphone had a hiccup. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have to worry about finances if I'm playing this way with unlimited funds, which means that when it comes to being a bit of a perfectionist with the walls the way they are, I can do exactly what I want to do and not worry about the financial constraints. And if that means I'm building structures that I don't actually need to build and then removing them to fit my design, well, at least it means the design I want gets built the way I'd like it to get built in the end. So, you know, yes, it's a bit of a strange way of doing it, but it gets done what I want to get done. So that's really all that matters. Okay, now we'll follow the same procedure down here, which is to build a structure with a floor in the first place. Okay, and that'll be eventually, once it's built, we'll add a door. That will be the holding cell. So we'll have a door from the reception room there, logically straight into the holding cell there. Once those guys have actually come down and built that, we'll do like we did with the reception room area, and we'll change the walls from the structure walls, brick and concrete, to, you know, a quote-unquote fancy wall. Come on, guys, where are you? Oh, there he is. I couldn't see him. Sometimes they kind of disappear into the picture because they're so tiny, you know. Speaking of which, let's take a minute to talk about the graphics. You know, a lot of people have said this game reminds them of games like Theme Hospital and, you know, games of that ilk because it looks kind of cute and cuddly, and it kind of does. But, you know, let's not forget that once we get inmates in, it is a jail simulation, and, you know, it might not be as cute and cuddly as you first think it is. You know, when I first played it, you know, I thought, oh, this is adorable, and then you realize that someone's here for murder, and, you know, maybe not so much, which is actually another reason why I just enjoy building. I have this bizarre notion that if I build the perfect prison, that I'll have inmates that won't rebel or anything of that nature. So we'll see. I don't know that it's going to happen, but we'll see. Okay. Now, I took a door out up there to put it here next to this corridor because I like, again, with my whole neatness thing, I like having doors in the center of hallways. So we'll take the one out up at the top, which we don't need anymore, and eventually they'll go and fill that in. You know, that leans back into what I was saying about not always building where I need to build, building too much and then having to correct, you know, because of the way I like using the fancy walls, but it at least gets done what I'd like to get done, you know. And since this is my prison, I guess I can do it the way I'd like. But let me know what you think, guys. You know, do you like the way I'm going? You know, do you understand what I'm trying to achieve by doing it this way and creating fancy walls after the fact, so that at least I get my layout right? For example, here now I can just drag around this whole room and change the existing walls into the fancy wall, so that there at the top, where is the reception room, and here at the bottom where it's the holding cell, they will match. Neither of those rooms really need power. There's one small corner in the bottom there. We'll drag some power lines down this hallway just to be on the safe side. You never know. I'm sure eventually we'll have to address the power station, but for right now we're okay. There he comes. I'm sure he's going to go put some lights in there. Yes, he is. Meantime, let's build a hallway off of the back of the reception room. I like how sometimes the workmen go away other than you'll anticipate they go, even when there's paths and so on and so forth. Those guys went around the back when they could have just come down the sandstone paths here. But hey, who knows how they think. Let's speed them up to get the job done. I don't always like speeding up. I like running the game at the slow pace so that nothing happens that I'm not expecting, especially when I'm playing with inmates. But when I'm just building and there's no safety to worry about, let's say, we can turn the speed up sometimes to, you know, get the workers to virtually go into high gear. You know, obviously at the the time passes in the game at the same rate, it's just that you're making it go faster. But if from a purely aesthetic point of view, it looks like they're going faster, it looks like they've gone into a higher gear. So now let's repeat the process down here and put a hallway 3 wide again on this side of what is going to be the holding cell. We'll take out those pieces there because that will then create an entry into that piece of hallway. I'm sure eventually we're going to actually make that piece of hallway go further off to the left and make it a longer. Okay, so now let's actually turn this into what it's going to be, which will be the reception room, where inmates turn up when they first come to your jail. They're brought into here, where they're processed and changed into their jail uniforms. We need an office desk, a table and a chair in here to make it a valid room. When the room's valid, the little red triangle exclamation point will disappear, and then that room, once the prison's actually open, will be used for its intended purpose. Pop a table here and we'll put a chair logically behind the desk. When my guys have brought all those in, the room will be valid. We'll put a metal detector at the door to pick anything up that maybe some inmates try and smuggle in when they get it, because, you know, they do that, believe it or not. They're not all little angels. Okay, then we'll create a holding cell. There you go. Boom. Holding cell requires a toilet and a bench. Doesn't really need much in a holding cell, so it only needs the toilet and the bench to be valid. Okay, well, let's put the toilet bottom corner. There we go. We'll put a bench right about there, and that'll make it valid. But, you know, let's get inside the heads of the inmates that might be in there, and, you know, they might want more than just, you know, one toilet and a bench. They might be in this room for a while, so let's at least give them a couple of toilets maybe, and some phone booths, you know, maybe even chuck in a bed just in case they have to live there. I don't like putting beds in, so, you know, maybe we won't. I prefer just to put beds in cells, then you don't have people living in the holding cell and you get overcrowded. So let's just let them do that. Here they go, they're coming now with all the fixtures for the reception room. Maybe I should have put that door in front of the reception room, but I like it in the middle of the hallway there, because then they can just walk down the hallway if they need to when they come in. Alrighty, this chair, a desk and a bench. There you go, guys, we got our first room all done. We're at least 1/8 of the way yeah, one very small eighth of the way, 1/800th of the way maybe, to having a jail up and running. We're gonna need water, I think, to the toilet that's now in the holding cell. So let's run some larger pipe for, you know, a lot of water pressure. Let's try and keep it in the center of the exterior paths like I like doing, and then the center of an interior hallway if necessary, and then we'll run small pipe into the actual toilet. And once my guys have done that, well, toilets, excuse me, once my guys have done that, then the toilets will be working. The little drip icon you see there right now on the toilet means it needs access to a water supply. It doesn't currently have one. Once it does, you know, they can use the toilet, because hey, we all know when you gotta go, you gotta go. So yeah, let's let my guys bring in all the pipe work. Which always seems to take them a while. There they are. Okay, I don't think we're going to do anything else for right now. Let's give them privacy, at least for the toilets. We're not going to give them doors. I mean, it is a holding cell. They're not supposed to be the most pleasant places in the world, you know, and it might discourage you from actually using the facilities anyway, because it's a toilet in a jail. Chances are it's going to be gross. So yeah, maybe we're not going to do that. However, the reception room can be kind of deceptive. They come in the reception room, they don't know yet what kind of horrors they're going to face, so let's make it kind of pretty by giving it a nice fancy floor tiles. Whereas we'll go a little bit of a different way with the reception room and use rusty iron, which is one of the tile sets that was added with the community update to Prison Architect a few months ago, where all these nice interesting walls came from. We'll probably get to look at some of the walls in more detail when I build an admin centre with offices for staff like the warden and so on and so forth. Now, let's go down here and we'll go 21 tiles down. We'll build another hallway there, and coming off of that hallway to the left is probably going to be my cell block sooner or later. So let's let them do that. When they're there, they come, they're bringing piles and piles of bricks. Go on guys, go faster, there you go. Okay, let's finish up putting the flooring in the holding cell. And there they go, building the hallway. Buzz, 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 off they go. You know, turn them up, put them into high gear. And there's the hallway that's going to be behind the cell block. We'll take out these 3 pieces to create an entrance. We'll add some power as we go, same as before. We'll go in the center. Let's take these pieces out first though, so we've got an open hallway. There you go. And we'll go in the center, as I was saying. We'll run some power cables from there down to there, which will light up that particular piece of hallway. And then we should be ready to put a cell block in, I think. Okay guys, I think we're going to wrap it up there for this one. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next one with the next episode.